Welcome to today's episode of Thoughts on Education. We have with us Mr. Shubham Tayal, a young, dynamic educationist. And he's the member board of governor, Panipat Institute of Engineering and Technology. So here we go with my first question to you. As I understand, you've actually done your education, your engineering from United Kingdom, then you've moved to India to take forward the institution Panipat Institute of Engineering and Technology. And it's about 4 or 5 years that you've got into the setup and system. How do you visualize the Indian education having evolved over the past 5 years as compared to a system, processes that you saw in United Kingdom? And how do you see things moving forward?
Okay, so to start with, I would like to tell you that when I went abroad for my education, I went to the University of Liverpool in England. The idea of going abroad was to gain that particular exposure of why the students from across the world go to universities in USA and UK. What is that thing that pulls them to that foreign universities? And then when I went abroad and I saw that it is not about the academic curriculum that they teach there. It is more about how practical they are into their ways of teaching. What are the things that they look at when they teach? What is the technology that they are using? Because that is one of the reasons that they are known as the top universities across the world. So the main difference was they are more practical oriented, which was not the case back, if I say a decade back, that was not the case with India. It was more of a conventional teaching style. You get to do the theories and, you give out examination when you pass or you don't pass. That was how the education system used to run. I'm talking about the time when I graduated from my high school, right? So, but when I went abroad, it was not the case. It was more of, a practical pool of things. So you would be going through a theory paper like you used to in India, but other than that, you need to engross yourself in assignments, in report writings, into presentations. So you have this different modes of, testing for a student, which eventually, gives them confidence to move forward. And it is not only about numbers for them. And if I compare, it with system in India nowadays, things are getting better day by day with the new education policies, coming into existence in place. It is not conventional anymore, I would say. We are going on in the right direction, taking on the modern education methods. There are, lab implications and practical activities that is going in the education system. So it is, moving in the right direction, and it is not the convention that it was a decade back or, 8 to 10 years ago.
Mr. Shubham Tayal, actually in the PITE ecosystem, a lot of students who come from different parts of the country, even from as far as Nepal and other places, South countries. In fact, we believe that some students also from Afghanistan also go ahead.
Yes.
And we've been actively working and mentoring the students, handling the day-to-day issues or problems. So what do you see and what is your one-point advice for the students who come that far away to a place in Panipat, and what is the comfort and what are the features that PITE offers these students so as they can be very comfortably settled down into this?
So as students are from different places, and if I say, we have students from Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, there's a student from Afghanistan, there are a lot of students from different parts of country as well. Students coming from different places means they have different, backgrounds, be it in terms of their culture, be it in terms of their food or clothing, so every student who's from a different place comes with a different background. So initially, it is a challenge to accommodate everybody at the same place, at the same level, because somebody is coming from some part of the country, another one is coming from another part of the country, and they have different lifestyles that they've been living in, different systems and ecosystems, and here you have to connect them all at one place. So it is a challenge when you connect all of them at one place. You have small issues like it could be in terms of, say, very basic food. right? They might have different taste buds. Everybody has different tastes. So it is in hostel life, you cannot go according to every individual's taste or style, but you have to get them on one place. So it takes time, but eventually the idea is that everybody gets settled here. They feel at home. And at Pite, we try to give them a homely environment, where we have wardens all around the hours, that are there for them. And if there is any problem with them, they're happy to be there and help them out in case they need any extra help or extra hand. So and it is eventually, when students gets to know each other with the time frame as the time passes, they get comfortable with each other. But initially it is a challenge because everybody is from a different background. But slowly and steadily they get along, and students are happy when they're in a hostel after a time.
There is actually a lot of talk that happens that Pite actually is an institution that believes in a lot of cultural activities and sporting activities, and they have a dedicated timeline. They do 2 cultural fests in a year, which is very unlike a lot of other institutions also in the country, which rarely do 2 cultural festivals. What is the driving philosophy behind organizing so many festivals and events around the year?
Right. I think when we talk about personal development of any individual, it is not only from academics. The whole idea of doing so many cultural or other activities is to give them that platform where they can come up and speak out in front of an audience, so that they have that confidence in life when they move forward. They are able to connect with people, communicate with people, so that there is no lack of communication. There are a lot of students at times who don't have any exposure to stage speaking. They have never been into a stage, whether they were in school or during their college. If they are a student for a postgrad course, they have not participated in any of the activities, so they have this fear of stage, where they are not able to communicate with people, or they are not able to put up their words with the other people. But here at Pite, we try to do as many activities as possible, in terms of cultural or other curriculum, so that students get, the stage feeling often, and they are able to, overcome with their fear of stage, and they are able to speak freely. Because these are the things that is very important for a person to develop, personally. When you go out in a corporate world, you need to be able to speak out and tell your opinions. That is very important. So the idea is to provide them that stage, and giving them that stage so that they can speak out and they can remove that fear of a stage, and they can go ahead in life. So for that, we have this freshers party that we organize every year. It is named as Kabunkam in Pite, and there's this annual festival that is named Maestros that happens every year. And there are informal events, there are technical events, there are cultural events that happens across the year, so that students can identify their area of interest and perform accordingly in that particular areas.
And what is your vision in creating a facility that goes beyond academics over the next few years, so that it brings a holistic development of a student? Because you being a young entrepreneur, educationist, so you have a vision about building a new ecosystem, a new campus. So what's your vision?
So like I told, curricular activities and cultural activities are important for one's personal development, and equally important is sports. So there's something, and coming from a state of Haryana is known as the state of sports. People have been going and doing wonderful, at national and international level in terms of sports. So we want to create a better sports infrastructure for students, so that equal focus is put up on sports as well. So along with academics, it is not only about academics, like I told. Along with academics, it's also cultural and extracurricular activities, and along with that, there is sports that goes with them. So we want to create a good infrastructure for sports, better infrastructure for sports in terms of in the campus, so that students can enroll themselves in multiple sports and do good on a state or national level in terms of sports as well.
One last bit. What would be your advice to this young generation of students who are coming and joining PIDE, are looking at a new institution? What should be their approach going forward?
So instead of advice, I would say I have a request to the generation that is, coming here and yet to come. Like I said previously, academics is important. We are coming to educational institutions, or we are going to schools to study and move forward in life. But I think apart from academics, beyond academics, one has to see that how one can grow in life. So academics is important. I'm not saying that you should not be looking at academics, but beyond academics, one should be eager enough to participate in other activities. Extracurricular, be it sports, be it cultural, be it informal, be it an anchoring on stage, or something that develops their personality, that develops that confidence within themselves, so that they move ahead in life.